Okay, this tutorial show you how to use Lambda expressions. I will also show you how to use a event handler interface, then with inner class, and then anonymous inner class. Then eventually I will show you why using Lambda expression is a better idea. Let's add a package name in front of JavaFX and documents. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to design JavaFX ML UI controls. So far I use only private methods belongs to SceneBuilder. So basically I just double click buttons, then implement it according to given implementations. Normally call it as a private void and then name of the event handler. But there are other ways to implement it. So here's the example. If you click buttons, then it will just say you click me on the output window, which is actually using private methods. So let me go back to event handler, kind of traditional way of implementing JavaFX controls. Let me create a multiple buttons, then I will show you one by one. Okay, let me remove label. Then I think I will remove the button as well, so that we can create the new buttons from scratch. So possibly I may create the 4 buttons for now. Okay, let me name buttons to OK, then cancel, preview, next. Actually, it's up to you. Now I'm going to add FX ID for all buttons. So it's BTN OK, and then BTN cancel, BTN previous, BTN next. So we can actually have a series of names called buttons. Let's make controller so that we can have up-to-date names. Remove label. Then as you can see, there are 4 buttons. Also, let me remove all the implementations. Okay. Now we will implement it according to event handler. Okay, the first implementation is based on event-driven programming. So let me just create one class called OK handler. This one will implement one interface called event handler. It's going to deal with action events type. So you may need to import event handler. And the action events. I think there's a typo. Okay, import it. Some of you know when you implement interface, there might be at least one abstract method, which is actually handle method here. So it means you must override it. You may need to implement your own. So let me just say OK button is clicked. So there were 4 buttons. So when we click OK buttons, this is actually implementation based on event handler interface. So this is the actual code. Also share with JavaFX SceneBuilder when we use built-in method, which is usually private void methods. So let me just add some comments. Okay, our implementation should be located in initialize methods, so that you can create an object called OK button. Then you can trigger the events using set on actions refers to button OK objects. So implementation is a bit new compared to previous ones, because previous one we had one private methods. Outside initialize was separate methods, so that we can just focus on one method. So I actually prefer that way because this has a more modularizations than putting everything on the initialize methods. So let me create one object, and then each objects you can actually call set on actions. Then you can implement an event handler here using OK handler. So you actually implement an interface to trigger the events. Then we'll take certain actions. Okay, as you can see here, when you click the OK buttons, it actually works. So that was a bit cumbersome. There's a long way to prepare for the button OK object, and there's another way. Okay, class can be used for these buttons. So let me just demonstrate it for button cancel, because this object can be used for only one buttons. So it might be not necessary to create separate classes. So let me just create cancel handler, implement the same event handler. Then action events can be a type. Then it's going to give us some warnings because there is one abstract event. Okay, typo. Okay, there is, let me import. It's pretty much same as importing two statements, but let me just remove something I don't use it. And then cancel handler, say implement all abstract method. Actually, there is only one. Okay, handle method, so we need to override it. Okay, implementation is pretty same. Just print it out, cancel button is clicked. Then go back to initialize methods. Then create objects based on inner class. So I will say, yeah, maybe I will make some comments first. So create a cancel handler object. then object can be triggered by cancel OK object using setOnAction methods. Okay, the implementation is same. Okay, button cancel dot setOnActions. Then name of the object refers to cancel. I mean, inner class called cancel handler. Okay, let me fix the typo. Then it seems okay. Okay, I think the class name doesn't match. Okay. Let me fix the name of the class. Some mistyping handler all the time. Please bear in mind. So cancel button is implemented using class. By implementation same, we just implement event handler interface. One for OK button and one for cancel buttons. Okay, next one I will show you how to use the anonymous inner class. The idea is pretty much the same, but when you use an inner class, you create the object's name, such as cancel handler. But if you look at the main idea, it's just idea of implementing abstract methods belongs to events handler. If that's the case, it might be not necessary to have object name, so that we can actually implement the same idea. So that's the main idea of anonymous inner class. So let me just fix the typo. So we are going to focus on button previous, then using setOnAction. Then here, instead of creating objects, we focus on constructor. So say new event handler, action events. Here default constructor. Then I know that the coding looks a bit strange to you, but once you do that, it's going to give you a warning to say that abstract methods should be implemented or override the abstract methods. So that's what we did for the OK buttons and cancel buttons. So we are going to do exactly the same implementation. So system.println saying previous button is clicked. Okay, let me just fix the indentations. Okay, that belongs to abstract method, that belongs to setOnAction methods. Okay, let's click previous buttons. Yes, it works. Let's move to the final ones. Lambda expressions. There are multiple ways of using Lambda expressions. Let me start with the comments for Lambda expressions. So we're going to implement next button using Lambda expression here. Again, idea is the same. We focus on event handler interface, so that we will override the abstract method called handle. So let me just go to button next. That might be the first one. Then I will say setOnAction. Again, we are focusing on event handler here. So I will say action events. Then Lambda expression use a special symbol called dash and then greater than. Then actually in implementation, you can put it between the curly brackets. So say next button is clicked. So let me just fix the indentations. I think there's missing curly brackets. So if you can reverse to the line number 51, looks like almost inner class. So let me just add the curly brackets. Then let's see. Okay, click next button. It says next button is clicked, so it actually works. So that's the one way of using Lambda expressions. Lambda expression can be simplified. So let's see the second way of implementing Lambda expressions. Idea is almost same, but if you look at here, line number 56, action events and events. You don't really have to refer to action events. You can just focus on object called events. Then of course you can call it as a EVT or E or whatever you want, but I will just keep it same conventions called events, lowercase e. Then same implementation, okay. Okay, let me fix the parentheses or curly brackets. Somehow it doesn't match. Okay, there is one more, so let me remove it. Okay, click next. Okay, next button is clicked. It worked. Okay, next one is pretty similar to if statement. So when you have a more than one statement, you may need to use curly brackets. But if you have a single statement, you don't have to use curly brackets. So this is the case. So here events and then system printer and next button is clicked is a single statement. So that you can include it together with the Lambda expressions. Again, you have to be careful. You may not need additional curly brackets and semicolon as well. Example 3 is quite easy to make a mistake adding additional semicolons at the end. So what I do is I follow the example 2, then I may add additional curly brackets, whether it's a single statement or not. Then I remove the parentheses so that my typing might be slightly less than example 2. But again, it works as it is. All these implementations are useful using a concrete method called OK button class, or you can use an inner class called cancel button class, or you can use anonymous inner class or Lambda expressions. But I just prefer to use SceneBuilder. Then create a private method, just like what we have done so far. So create one button called reset. Then I may name for the object on the FX ID. Then on action, this is the one we are implementing abstract methods that belongs to event handler. So we save it, then you already know, make new controller, and focus on implementing that private methods. Okay, here you go, line number 77. Okay, so if you look at the left-hand side, you can actually see multiple classes, multiple objects, and certain methods belongs to the inner class as well. Autonomous inner class also shows up. So this is actually up to you. I personally prefer to use private methods when I dealing with the JavaFX UI controls. Okay, let me quickly review what we have done. The first one was using OKHandler class, which is a concrete class, implementing an event handler interface. You may need to import two additional class, then override the abstract method called handle. Then the second one, you don't really have to use a concrete class. You can use an inner class, because that will be used for only this particular class only. The third one was autonomous inner class. You don't even need inner class, so you can use the autonomous inner class so that you can focus on implementation of abstract methods. Next one was Lambda expressions. Again, my preference is example number 4. So when you use NetBeans, actually allow you to convert your autonomous inner class to Lambda expressions, or Lambda expression to autonomous inner class. So, but there's only one difference between my preference number 4. Actually looks like example number 1 when you use conversion tools built with NetBeans. So it's up to you, whichever you want. Or you can change to example for removing action events on line number 471, and it looks exactly the same as what I have. That's all for this tutorial.